Alright, so let me clarify. That last video got split up, and so I didn't get to, finish my point smoothly as it would have been. Though I didn't plan the point out exactly. I'm just like, hey, I want to talk about this basic idea. So that basic idea was the fact that if you have a purely logical set of reasoning that makes something seem impossible, something that you see happen, that's not good enough, right? Because logical systems are not always apt. They're subject to um, paradoxical kind of conclusions at their edges. Okay, so in the special or difficult cases. So, and it's not that I can't conceive of what you guys are saying. Of course, I understand the idea that it seems like one thing leads to another. So there's one state and leads to the next state. And that makes perfect sense, except for, to me, it's also like the fact that Zeno's reasoning makes perfect sense. And what's missing there, I remember when I was a kid, and I had heard about that paradox before I heard about infinite sums. And so, yeah, it seemed like, wow, that is weird. Once you know about infinite sums, there's ways to see, oh, yeah, that reasoning has a flaw in it. You can have improved reasoning, improved logical systems that handle these cases, or just an improved understanding so you can handle them and not misapply logic to get an absurd conclusion. And in fact, that's the whole argument method of reduction to absurdity. If you reduce an argument to absurdity, then there's a problem with the argument itself. So if you assume something and then you reduce it to absurdity, you could even say, well, that can't be true. So that's a little different than this. But another way of describing the situation, well, I see the possibility that there is no free will. I have to see something more about this illusion, because to me it's like, I think it's a fair metaphor to say, it's as if you're saying, I am like a river, and I'm flowing down the mountain, and I think that I'm taking a branch around, an island, and I think that I'm deciding to go left and right, but really, it's just like the river, and it's being pulled down. Sometimes the water splashes up. It seems a little random even, but really, nope, it's all directed by what we'd call a gravitational gradient, right? The gradient, the grade. However the actual downhill grade is, that the river follows that. And the water in the river follows that. And the question then is, why does the river, why does it, I don't think an actual river, a literal river, thinks it's deciding which way to go. It just the water is pulled down the hill. How could you have a phenomena that thinks that? And then even if it's an illusion, well, it's an illusion. It's the universe's physics generating the illusion of a phenomena, which is just a weather storm or a waterfall, and it thinks, I'm an entity. That's already weird enough. That has to be explained. That's at least as weird as explaining that, the willpower that seems to be the case could be the case. So it seems to me a limited understanding is, we can detect that we have a limited understanding at this point to explain it sensibly. So of course it could be explained a million ways and still come out that willpower is illusion. I have no trouble imagining that, because I think a lot of what people think about willpower is an illusion, right? I don't think you really influence things directly. I mean, my personal idea that I've lived by, trying to figure out how you can do things you want to do when you have these other urges and it's difficult. My solution to willpower is basically, if you want to, change how you react to a situation, then after you have one of those experiences that makes you wish that, you think it through and you prepare yourself. Okay, when this kind of thing happens again, I'm visualizing I'm reacting in this other way, and you'll find next time you can kind of basically program yourself. You can condition yourself. So it's a very subtle kind of influencing through training. And then in the moment, yeah, you pretty much react the way your dominoes of your brain were set up. But ahead of time, you can set those things up and try to condition yourself to get used to, to change your habits, to change your reactionary, transactions, right? Mental transactions with yourself. So, in that picture, there's a lot of unfreedom of will type fact is the will isn't free, the will isn't unfree, it's not a slave, it's not a supernatural agent that can defy physics. It is a part of physics. And, the fact that there's some power to will is no different to me, no more amazing or unexplained that there's a power to gravity and there's a power to electromagnetism. I mean, what even are those things? And why should they exist, whether they seem magical to you or not? Just that any of them exist is a little bit surreal, and that energy is convertible to mass, and mass and particles convertible to each other. Sound of the wind. That's already amazing enough. And the fact that, it's like if you were to somehow know ahead of time that the will is an illusion, it's still kind of weird that there's a kind of waterfall, there's a kind of a hurricane known as a human chemical process, the chemical process that is a human body that can have this illusion. Doesn't matter that it's an illusion at that point. What the hell is the universe doing creating a waterfall that feels like it's making decisions? It's more amazing it would create that something like that could happen, and that be an illusion, and that be wrong, because there's not even any reason why does a waterfall have any possibility of thinking it's making a decision? It's more amazing you would have that illusion and there's nothing to making choices than the fact that maybe there's some sort of structure in the universe that means that, yeah, there really is will making a choice. How could that be? Well, the basic general way that could be is if you have a six-dimensional space, right, and it all exists, boom, there it is. But if you're just carving a three-dimensional or four-dimensional path through a six-dimensional space, then you make the choices. It's like a house, it all pre-exists. Where you can go in a house pre-exists, right? But a person taking, a one-dimensional path walking through this three-dimensional house, well, there's an infinite number of ways it could go and choices they can make. Even though the house, the doors are already everywhere that they're going to be, there's only so many places you can go. Still, the order that you can go, because of the reduction of you're just using a one-dimensional path that goes through a three-dimensional space, that gives you what we call degrees of freedom. So that's the basic way. All right. Obviously, that's way more clear now. All right, cheers.